It's been 3 weeks since I quit drinking alcohol and started documenting the process. And up until fairly recently, everything's been smooth sailing, feeling good, and high energy. But what goes up must come down. And that is precisely what happened and what I'm talking about today. What happens when the moody blues starts to come back into your life? When I accepted the challenge to quit drinking, I knew it was going to be exactly that, a challenge. It wasn't going to be easy. But everything was going very well up until a certain point. And when that difficulty and challenge does arise, it kind of catches you by surprise and you forget that you wanted to accept the difficulty. And this is the point where I was really put to the test. I'm glad to report that I got through it without relapsing, but it was a very, very difficult time for at least 3 days. As I've discussed in previous videos already, when you do the work to discover why you started drinking alcohol in the first place, what benefits you get from it, and what are your triggers that want to make you go back to that behavior, it's quite obvious to say that in this last week, much of that was present again. Once again, for me, the topic of nice guy syndrome reared its ugly head in the form of expectations. I felt like the entire world wants a piece of me. The moment I show just a slight bit of bad mood or exhaustion, everybody kind of jumps in and wants to fuss and check that I'm okay, and all I wanted to do was be left alone. And the more I want to be alone, the more people worry about you, and that kind of compounds on top of you until I reached a point where I felt like I was suffocating. I couldn't breathe anymore. Since I quit, I've been on a high energy status the whole time. I've been going to gym as much as I can. I've been reading. I've been making these videos over and above my working day, which is also filming and editing quite a lot. And obviously, the whole idea of all of this at the same time was like, I didn't realize that my habit stack was bigger than just the 3 habits I took on, because it was also making these videos. And when I missed a day here and started slipping there, I started feeling that pressure of going, oh my God, I can't keep up with everything. I think I'm burning out. I first noticed that there were just not enough hours in the day. It was like, every day was just a mad freight train rush from waking up to going to bed, and I was getting tired. I was kind of wanting a little cat nap here and there just to recover and keep up with myself. Then it struck me that all these things were happening and I was leaving out other aspects of my life. I was not really taking care of myself. I felt like I wanted to get a haircut and I didn't do that. I have for months now needed to get a new pair of glasses, and I've just been procrastinating on that. Needed to do taxes and a checkup and a whole bunch of just technically life admin stuff. And I was just pushing this all aside because the most important thing was to not be drinking and make these videos and show up and be the guy who can do it, prove to everybody that I'm the dude. And at some point I was just like, I can't be that guy anymore. Screw you guys for making me do this. Screw my wife for putting so much pressure on me to have to be a better man. Screw my colleagues at work for expecting me to always deliver better work. And I was just like, F you guys all. Obviously, I knew I was being irrational, but the emotional overwhelm, I just couldn't contain myself. So I tried my best to just keep quiet and keep to myself and calm down, and obviously try and cut out all the stuff that I'm doing. 2 days later, this mood was still there, and I was getting more and more like a dog in a corner ready to snap at people. My focus at work was completely gone. I skipped a whole bunch of videos. I skipped 2 days of gym. It was all falling apart very quickly. So on Friday, I attempted to pull myself together, and I did a whole bunch of things. I made a burn list and kind of worked through it. I practically took the day off work to just get all this stuff sorted out. And I felt okay. I felt a little bit better. I felt proud of myself, but it wasn't an overwhelming positive difference yet. The next morning I woke up and I felt the same shit again. And then Saturday morning something came to me and said, you're not practicing what you're preaching. You're telling yourself and you're telling people in this video that you need to go and write and journal and get all these feelings out, and I hadn't done that. So I dragged myself out of bed, scraped my feet along the floor to go and find my journal, which I didn't even know where it was at this point in time because I haven't looked at it in days, actually weeks. I found it, opened up a fresh page and look back, and it had been a month and 4 days since I last wrote. And to my surprise, I was actually in a very good state and a very good mood. And I had ridden that good mood into quitting alcohol and beyond, and forgotten to actually continue writing. So I got to it. The first page was very bland, very like, ugh, don't feel like I want to do this. I just kind of wrote for the sake of it, going through the motions. But by page 2, it was getting better. By page 3, I was making sense of things. And by page 4, once again, I feel like I got through a little bit of a breakthrough with the realization that I had all these expectations of people on me. I was falling into my old pattern of nice guy syndrome, where I felt like everybody wants a piece of me and I have to give everybody myself. And what about me? So I wrote, what do I want? And I wrote, I want to be left alone. That's what I want. I'm not going to admit that to anybody else. I'm going to admit it to myself. And then I imagined myself being on a mountain completely alone. And I was at peace for a moment. I was happy. And I imagined what it would be like to be there for a week alone. And it was great. And then I realized, I'm going to get bored. I would like some people back in my life. So then I looked at everybody in my life, everybody that wants something from me, and decided, okay, let's put the people that are bothering me the least first on the list. These were people like old friends who would love to just hear a message from me, just to say, hey, how are you? How's it going? Or somebody having a birthday and you didn't say happy birthday. It's like the smallest little thing that you could do to, pick up the phone, send a message, and it's done. That's it. And then there was the second group, which was a lot more heavy, emotionally heavy. These were what I called the transactional expectations, where I had engaged in a project with somebody where we would collaborate and I had a part to play, and I haven't finished those projects. And I got a few of these on my plate right now that I have not finished, and some of them I've been carrying for months and they just sit there. So this is like time debt. I paid for something with time I didn't have, and now I'm paying the interest on that over months, and it's dragging me down. And then we have the third group, which is the heaviest by far. These are what I call the behavior expectations, where the people closest to me expect me to behave differently, expect me to stick to my alcohol story, a better colleague, a better husband, a better friend. Whatever it is, it's like you're expected to be a better person. And of course, these are the most invasive, intrusive, and these are the people that I didn't want anywhere near me yet. I wasn't ready to accept that. I even felt that in my writing until I wrote that and felt, oh my God, these are the people I care about the most. These are the people closest to me. And here's the big takeaway. I realized that they didn't want these things of me. I want these things for me. I just chose these people to be in my life to kind of hold me accountable to the things I want. Not once did any of them wag a finger at me or say, oh, you should be, or you need to be this. It was like, no, I was the one saying you should be, you need to be. And they're all telling me this. It's like, no, that's all you. It's all you. And by writing it down, I could see my own voice back at me actually pointing that out. And suddenly I felt this wave of release to go, oh my God, okay, I've got this all back to front. I've got this wrong. The people that I'm most feeling oppressed by are actually the ones who are caring for me the most and the ones that I've been treating the worst. So as that bag of bricks dropped off of me, I could kind of step into what am I going to do about it? And it was very simple. Tier 1, you make a burn list and you send out a couple of messages. And for Tier 2, I have to put myself into a time debt management plan, which is basically look at which project is the most pressing and get that done over the course of the next 2 weeks. Then go into the next one, then go into the next one, and just keep working through them. On a 2-month plan, I can get out of this. So it's literally like getting out of debt with money. You want to, have a plan to make sure by X date you're out of it. Same thing for me. I cannot let this drag on because it's killing me. And Tier 3 kind of resolved itself in that moment, is that I just had to take on that identity shift again. Like I did when I said I'm going to quit alcohol. Like this, I also said, okay, wait, no, I accept the challenge of my own life. And with that, things turned around again. I don't want to make this sound like, oh, everything's perfect. No, I'm still in the thick of it. This is very challenging. It can be sometimes a little bit misleading because I get very excited when I tell people about this. But truthfully, there's a lot of difficulty to go through here still. And I expect that these downturns and bouts will return. The only real effective tool that I know and have to keep this at bay is to keep that writing consistent. So, with my schedule already being so overloaded, I can't always commit to do everything. I have to reduce it down to only a few priorities. And writing through this period of my life is actually going to be more important than many of the other things that I've picked, including reading books and including making these videos. These videos have had a positive impact and they are like a form of journaling, but I have also fallen into the trap of this being in a public space and then having to kind of prop myself up and pretend like everything's good when it's not. And that is absolutely not conducive to my own journey. So I'm going to make less videos only when I really feel like I need to get something out or I have something very important to share with myself. And other than that, I'm going to commit to journaling for the next 30 days, much, much more frequently, because I've realized that I see journaling almost like taking an antidepressant. I don't have depression. I don't feel like I need to go to any kind of medical supplements of that kind, but I definitely feel that going to have a check-in with yourself very regularly is the best type of medicine I can give myself throughout this tricky period. I think the thing I'm most happy about is that throughout this time, I got very moody and grumpy and depressed feeling, but I didn't feel the cravings to say, I want to go and drink again. And that is a good sign for me that the identity shift that I took on just over 3 weeks ago is in place, and that I felt the pressure of keeping that identity up, and I didn't know what to do with the negative feelings that came that would have otherwise been channeled towards alcohol. I didn't know where to put it until I remembered, wait, you have your journal and the replacement habits, but you've got too much. So reprioritize, redesign the journey, and let's pick it up from here and go again. So yeah, that's what's happened. I'm glad I got to document this because the previous video looks like everything's easy and sunshine and roses and life's an adventure and it's going to be great. And it's like, no, that's not really how it looks. It's actually a really difficult path. It's really challenging a lot of the time. And we are only really seeing how strong we are in our weakest moments, not in our best. And I have been in a best moment for 3 weeks. So that's it. Thanks for listening. Good luck on your quit drinking journey. Wish you all the best. And as always, if you have any questions about other aspects of quitting drinking, let me know in the comments.